Hey guys, Furum here, and as the holidays come to a close, I thought what better way to end off the year than with some of my best races of the holiday multiplayer season in Asphalt 9. In this video, I'll be using the 3 cars available in this season at max, with the Lykan used mostly, but a couple of races from the Corvette and the Huracan as well. I don't typically do multiplayer videos with multiple cars, but when they are cars that I have tested already and there's a special season for them, I feel like it's a good fit. Please consider subscribing if you haven't already, and I hope that everyone has a wonderful new year. It's not the new year yet as I'm recording this, but it will be pretty soon, and I know it is already for a lot of people around the world. For our first race, we have the Corvette on Nevada against some other Corvettes, Huracans, and even a Lykan. The season was set up so that you could use any car in whatever league you were in, so I always got a pretty good variety. I found through my testing that the Corvette is a pretty good car for Nevada in multiplayer especially. It can get around the turns very easily. It makes it through the really weird rough terrain section that shouldn't be on the road without any problem at all. And as much as people bash this car for being the touch driver's car and being way overrated, it still is pretty fun to drive, and I enjoy driving it in this season, because I don't normally in any of the other ones. This season, I just kind of cycled through the 3 cars whenever I had fuel for them, stopping using the Corvette once I got to about top 100, because at that point, pretty much everybody was going to be in Huracans and Lykans, which are better than this car overall, and would beat me most of the time, and I would generally lose rating. But earlier on in the season, this car was pretty great, and I finished this race in first place. That Huracan that was ahead of us wrecked, I think, on one of the turns. I don't know if I would have been able to catch up to him otherwise, but it would have been extremely close, as is this race right here. This is probably, with this Huracan, the closest race that I had in the season. A lot of people have asked me recently whether or not I think the Huracan should be nerfed, and I don't really think so. I don't think any car should be nerfed or have its stats messed with when it is the current king of its class, and especially if it still does really well in like the Class B Elite events and stuff like that. I just think that does a disservice to the people that got the car because of that reason. Now, once this car goes out of Class B Elite, I'm more open to it, but right now, I don't think it would be a really good idea. Because JC Blitz was right behind me in his Huracan, I knew that I had to take the shortcut, or else he would take it, and I would fall behind, and I'm very glad that I did. I've learned that to take that shortcut reliably, you have to hit nitro before you land after drifting off the side back there. Otherwise, your car will not go as far to the right as you need to. It's kind of weird, but that's how I've learned to be able to get it almost every time now. And after a pretty intense race, we do come in first ahead of the other Huracan, but it was not by more than a few frames. And now we're moving on to the Lykan races. These were definitely some of the more interesting ones that I had in the season, just because the Lykan is a very different sort of car than the Huracan and the Corvette. And most of the cars that I faced when I was in the Lykan were Huracans and Corvettes. And I had to drive quite a bit differently, obviously, because this car is a faster one with lower nitro efficiency, and the low nitro is what sometimes makes this car not so optimal on certain tracks. Sometimes it is unable to keep much of a higher speed than the Huracans that you are facing just because of the nitro limitations, but I found that for the most part I was able to, and I won most races in my Lykan that I played against Huracans. So I'm sure that some of you are wondering how I'm doing in DS3, the Bugatti Drive Syndicate. Well, I'm happy to say that I have reached and passed the halfway point in the event. I've gotten over 500,000 Syndicate points. I have 3-starred the Apex. I unlocked the Porsche 911 yesterday, but I think that's as far as I'm going to be able to go. You see, I was barely able to scrape together enough Syndicate coins to unlock the 911. That's after getting the 30 free ones and after already having, I think, 18 from before, so I was 7 blueprints away from winning the car. Now, one thing that I do want to say is, generally speaking, it is more cost-effective to buy the first 7 blueprints from the Legend store than to go ahead and buy packs for the car. And let me explain the math behind that. So for each of the packs, if you buy the 10 times, say for example the 20,000 10 times Porsche 911 packs, well, you have a 20% drop rate as well as a guaranteed drop for the blueprints of the car. Now, this means on average, you would get 2 out of 10 in a pack, plus the extra 1 that always comes at the end of a pack from that guarantee. So theoretically, you should get on average 3 blueprints per 10 times pack. That comes out to 20,000 divided by 3 for each blueprint, so around 6,700. Now, the first 7 blueprints in the Legend Store are less than 6,700, and the final 3 are more. I don't know if it's exactly like this for the rest of the cars, but it was pretty similar from what I can remember with the Apex and the i8. And speaking of the i8, I might just be able to 3-star it depending on my luck in the packs, or I might come very close and not be able to. We'll have to see how many syndicate coins I get from a 1-star 911, because there's no way I'm going to be able to 2-star that in the event. And anyway, I think a higher star i8 would be a better investment. Hopefully we get a sort of car hunt or something for it later. That would be great to see so that I can 4-star it and use it hopefully in the Nevada Weekly Championships. I did pretty good with my Elise last time, but I'm pretty sure the i8 being faster and pretty much just as good in the other aspects will be a better car all around, and quite likely the king of D-Class on Nevada, which is very interesting because it is actually positioned rather low in its class, but it's better than many of the cars above it. Kinda weird, don't know why they placed it so low. Perhaps it's because its stats don't reflect the fact that its perfect nitro is faster than its other kinds of nitro. But whatever the case may be, I would like to get it at max, and I could have technically got it at max in the event if I hadn't gone and tried to unlock the 911, but I promised you guys I would try to get as far in the event as I possibly can. I bought all of the relay packs for 6,000 tokens, so 250,000 extra syndicate coins, and this is where I got to. I probably started off in a relatively similar situation as a lot of people with a maxed Aranera, but I didn't have the Apex or the 911. Some people might have the Apex at higher stars, but the Aranera at lower stars. I know some people like that, but I think for the most part, where I've gotten to in the event is more or less where a lot of people are going to be able to get to. Some people weren't quite able to unlock the 911. Some people got it to a few higher stars and were able to continue a little bit further in the event, but almost nobody is able to unlock the GT by Citroën. To give you an idea of how expensive this event is just to get the GT by Citroën, say you wanted to just get that, the new fastest car in Class A, and forget about the Bugatti. Well, even if you had all of the previously released cars maxed, yes, that means the Porsche, the Aranera, the Apex, which most people don't, you still would have to spend a few $100s in general to be able to unlock the GT by Citroën. Bebop, who has done some races for me on my channel and who has a pretty good garage with every one of the previously released cars in this update maxed, except for the 911, which was at 5 stars, said he would have to spend $300 on the event to be able to just unlock the GT by Citroën. Just unlock it, not even star it up to 4 stars, where you have to have it to get the Bugatti by the end. And so this adds something else to this event, which I believe definitely makes it the worst event in Asphalt history, and that's probably what I'm going to end up calling my video about it. Because, unlike the Yesco event, you actually are forced to spend money on the game in order to get the car at the end. There is no way you can get more syndicate coins for tokens than the relay packs, and even those are barely a scratch. Like, the relay packs alone are only enough to pay for the Bugatti upgrades that you'll need before getting to the Burning Pursuit chapter. At least with the Yesco event, while it was expensive, we could spend as many tokens as we wanted to get the syndicate coins to be able to complete the event. But I'm going to hold a lot of this for my video about the event. I'm going to keep doing research into it and seeing just how much it might actually cost, because I'm sure a lot of you guys remember when I made the Yesco video, I calculated how much it would cost to be able to unlock the Yesco, and I think it was about 21,000 tokens, or that came up to $700, so $100 per 3,000 tokens. Well, you obviously didn't have to spend that money on the game if you had the 21,000 tokens. And that's the big difference here. While the Yesco event may or may not have been less expensive than this current one, I don't really know yet, at least in terms of the amount of extra syndicate coins you have to have. Here, you cannot get as many as you need only using tokens. And that is the biggest issue with this event, in my opinion. So stay tuned for my video about DS3. It's probably going to be in a week or two, closer to when the event is nearly done, so I can get as much information about it as I can, because we already know it's really expensive and most people aren't going to be able to get the Bugatti. And let's not forget the much more expensive Rimac event on Switch too. So guys, thank you all so much for watching. Please like the video if you have enjoyed, and consider subscribing for more Asphalt and other games content. And I will see you in my next video. Goodbye!